Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I don't know if this thing is really worth doing a video on, but I'm going to show you what we're up against today just for the crack, whatever we're going to call it. What did he call it? It was for kicks and giggles, shits and giggles, something like that. Kicks and giggles, I think. Right, today we have a crank no-start Mazda 6. Get in to have a look at it to see what the story is, and lo and behold, what I have is weirdly, someone has been in here before, and I weirdly have 16 hydraulic tappets are gone squashy. Because they're gone squashy, it's just pushing, when the camshaft turns around, it's pushing down on the actual hydraulic tappet rather than pushing down on a valve on both sides, okay? So I could hear it when I was cranking it over. I could hear kind of a boop, 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 boop. I actually thought there was going to be a valve or something gone in this, or stuck open or something. And as the man said, it's only been a couple of months since someone else, a different garage somewhere around Ireland, has been on this. It seemingly a Mazda, kind of a specialist-y type of chap. Anyway, neither here or there. In we were going, saw it nice and clean, advised the man to put in hydraulic tappets in it, went in, took out my exhaust camshaft. I was going in further then to take out the intake camshaft, and lo and behold, what did I discover? The bloody caps are broken. 1, 2, 3. Exhaust ones are perfect. One on the end is perfect. And then number 4 sitting in there is perfect. Now, I have cylinder heads crack on these a lot. So I had a couple of caps sitting around the place. But what I want to point out to you is that these caps are not interchangeable. They're kind of specifically made for, that cylinder head. I believe what they do is they bolt on the cap, and then they send a machine and drill the hole, so that cap is kind of paired with that cylinder head. So if we were getting cylinder heads reconditioned, what we do is we take off the caps, we put them in a box, we number the head, and the number on the head coincides with the number on the box, and no matter when the head comes back, we know that those caps are paired to that cylinder head. Now, what have I done? I have my camshaft sitting in there now with no rockers. So you can see them. I have no rockers sitting in underneath. And my camshaft right now is sliding and rotatable, no bother whatsoever. That cap there is one that I have actually fitted a few moments ago. Now, what have we got in here? If I get my little power tool and I zoom in, that nice and gently. What I'm assuming happened on the last one is I'm assuming maybe they were either the wrong caps for it, or they were squeezed down. They have to be brought down nice and even. Like, you can't just lock down one side and then lock down the other side. But right now, my camshaft is locked. So that's its original cap. That's one I've been working on. That and that are both locking this camshaft up, or squeezing it up. And as I said, the reason I'm loosening that cap, lo and behold, we can spin again. That one is tight, and that's one of the ones I have been working on. Oh, that was my bad. Tighten. I'm only just going to nip tight. But that is, at this point, working. So, I'm going to show you what I am actually doing. And this is only been done because I do not want the task of taking a cylinder head off of this thing and taking it off purely only for caps. So I don't know whether this is going to be right, whether it's going to be wrong, whether you will think this crazy idiot or what. But what am I doing? I've just figured out that the actual thickness of the camshaft is 26 millimeters. Now, 26 millimeters is nearly exactly the same as my 17 socket. Makes sense? And what I'm doing is I'm putting a slight little bit of sandpaper on them. I'm putting that on that. It's actually tight on it there now because of the sandpaper. Sorry, it's actually tight on it there now because of the sandpaper. But what I'm actually doing now, a bit of easing oil, and I'm whizzying around. So you can see it getting kind of stuck on it there at this point. And what I'm doing is I'm to try and bore the hole a little bit bigger. And I'll show you then in a second what happens once I do that. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, people give out to me, what it may be, I don't know, but this is what I'm doing and I'm just showing you for the... Okay guys, so all I'm actually doing is that. And I'm just starting to work it in 800 grade sandpaper. And I'm just going to work in and out, rub, try, rub, try. And this is what I'm at. So I'm trying to make the inside of the cap a little bit looser, if that makes any sense. And I'm aware the camera's probably flopping around the place, but you get the gist of what I'm actually trying to do. My first fitment attempt, I can move it. I've gone quite hard on the sanding effort on it. I can move it, so I can slide the camshaft over and back, and I can also rotate it. But there is a handy bit of drag, so I'm going to go again. Just to point out as well, that's like I1. I1 is the very first one. I2, upside down. I3, upside down again. I don't know if you can see it. Can we see it? I3. I4, as I said, that's its original one. And then we have I5 sitting over there. So they're in their right placement, but just because they're off another head, they will not fit right for me. Now again, lads will be giving out and they'll be saying, what are you doing that for? Don't be doing that, you silly Billy. Anyway, the reason I'm doing it is, why do us mechanics take a chance on stuff like this? We take a chance on stuff like this because you want to keep the job rolling forward. You try your best for the customer, because what you're doing is you're actually employed by the customer to do the best of your ability or the best in your power to get their car right. And would I be doing my job right? I probably would be doing my job very right if I went along and told me they needed a new cylinder head at €4,000 or whatever it may be for cylinder head, head gasket, timing chains, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think I'm in my guts. I can't do that right now at this point in time for this customer. I believe that I'm going to do this. My 25, 30 years of experience is telling me that this is going to work. I have a hard material in the camshaft. I have a soft material in the cap and the aluminium cylinder head. Hence, one doesn't wear the other. They say hard and soft metals work together. But I'm believing that if this thing is just slightly loosened out a little bit, it's not going to affect my oil pressure. But this is my guts now. It's not fact. I'm only just telling you what I feel. I don't believe it's going to affect my oil pressure because I'm not making it astronomically loose. I'm just making it loose enough so it's not grabbing, catching, and going to pull or drag the aluminium in the caps or wherever it may be off and create a problem timing chain related. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to hit that once more. I'm going to hit that once more. And I'll just show you these in a second. I can't actually tighten that one down yet because she will lock it up. I'll show you that one done. I'll show you maybe that one done, and we'll just see where we end up. I'm in the process of doing number 5 at this stage. I don't have the yoke on me to hold the camera at this stage, but I have to do it with 2 hands, hand on sandpaper. But this is hopefully, well, it's the third one, so hopefully it's going to work. Number 5 sat in, so we have number 2, 3, 4 tight, and our camshaft is rotating nice and freely with one finger here. We can slide it in and out with these locked solid. So, fingers crossed. Ooh, nice and gentle. What's going to happen now? Ooh, cool. Okay, well that's that bit, lads. I don't know, that foolhardy or fantastic. I'm going to stick this together. If you want, I'll stick in a little bit of the car. Hopefully, okay? I can't guarantee that our hydraulic tappets are the absolute cause of this, but when you're going along with your diagnosis, if you find something wrong was my hydraulic tappets and it wasn't open the intake or the exhaust valves. That is the old exhaust pressure sensor here, which I have brought to the man's attention. He said he's aware of it, but he fitted this, he said, relatively recently. I didn't look, and I don't know of live data on that because with car was a non-start, so I wasn't focusing on that primarily. Just in case any of you see it and say, hey, that's the old pressure sensor. I know, I'm aware. But in this case, I believe that our intake valves weren't opening far enough, our exhaust valves weren't opening far enough. inhibiting air in, air out, and then we couldn't get combustion, never mind complete combustion. So it's, in theory, I'm hoping that it's air related. Everything looks good. We had crank speed, we had fuel pressure and all that kind of stuff, but yet I was hearing this boop, 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 boop out the intake. I thought, 100% I thought it was going to be a valve stuck open, because you were all probably aware camshafts wear exhaust camshafts, exhaust valves stick on them, and I thought that's what was going to be wrong. But anyway, here we are. I'll show you the car running and I'll talk to you in a few minutes, and if this thing kicks its heels, I'll tell you and ye in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it may be, whether it does, whether it doesn't. But I don't believe, I think that's going to be the finest, isn't it? To me anyway, my guts are saying yes. Okay guys, the plot thickens here slightly because I've been playing with my camshaft, the caps as you just saw, sand them down to make caps fit, etc, etc. And while I was looking in here and getting set up to maybe fit back in an exhaust camshaft, look what I see over there. Where am I going? So I have an indentation there where the Woodruff key got excessive force put on it. Now when I'm taking the top off of these yokes, I rotate the engine around, and I rotate the engine around till I line up my timing on the top. I then am not concerned about the bottom, because in theory the bottom is right. And I put in my little locking tool here for taking off the chain and holding it up top. But I have that marking on the pulley. I then look in here at my Woodruff key, and that looks like it got a kind of a bit of a thump. I shouldn't be able to do that. I can push it the opposite way, but I shouldn't be able to do it that way. So that got a thump, as in it got something, pressure on something. Now, just to show you what have I done? So in theory, if I'm right up the top with my, there's one mark that lines up on that pulley there with the top of the head here. For my special tool to go in there, it has to be a toot or two out, but it is a toot or two back to it. So that thing is not bang on 12 o'clock. All the Woodruff keys on these engines line up at 12 o'clock. Crank, cam and oil pump or balance shaft pulley, they all line up with the Woodruff key at the very, very tip top of it, okay? Now, as I said, cranking slowly, poop, 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 out here, no cam crank related faults. I'm just going to show you on a job sheet that we have here. We have a P0101 mass airflow. We have P0524 engine oil pressure low. We have positive crankcase ventilation heater, A controlled circuit high, and then we have P055F engine oil pressure at a range. Now, oil pressure, if I can't have the car running, I'm not going to concern myself with oil pressure right now. So the oil pressure would only be dealt with by me if the car was up and running. Or I did advise this person that they needed a cylinder head replacement. I think I said that maybe earlier on. They're trying to figure out what's wrong without spending quite so much on it. So here's where I'm at, going off, trying to find out what the heck is going on here, where are we heading. But no cam crank correlation faults. But then when I go in, if I should be at TDC, if I stick a big long screwdriver down this hole here, go in, I can't even get it, it shouldn't do that. And then when I come over here, I'm nearly at top dead center in 2 and 3. And then over onto number 4. She definitely ain't at top dead center on the bottom. So when I brought my cam to top dead center on its marks, chain is at the jumping here. That jumped chain then has given us valve to piston damage, and that then bang has broke the caps. 1, 2, and whichever I think is that. Is it 1, 2, 3, and 5? 4 was his original, and that one is perfect over there. So this is after getting valve to piston damage. What are we going to do now? I have done a compression check, but only with a very basic compression tester in there, and I had big compression, but I wasn't getting a reading. Basically, it's kind of like putting my finger over that and getting if I blew my finger up, I know I have big pressure in there. So my valves in theory are not bent. But the timing has to be all over the place in this thing. Has to be. Because that there should be at top dead center when those markings, the piston in there, should be at top dead center. That's the bottom end when that thing is at, in theory, top dead center. So we've valved the piston damage. What am I head saying? Here's the weird bit, and then you might get boring here. I'm wondering how am I going to do this without doing too much disassembly. I know if I bring this engine to top dead center with my screwdriver here, just our dial gauge, whatever you're going to use, I'll only do it with a screwdriver. I bring it to top dead center, and then in theory the top end should line up. Now that doesn't fix the primary cause. What caused this to jump a chain? Is there a faulty tensioner in there after the last chap worked on it, or what the heck is going on? But yet I want to see will this engine run. So what am I thinking? I'm thinking, which is kind of crackers. I know it's crackers, but if I start a ball rolling, I like to try and keep it rolling, and I don't want to go back as of yet. I'm going to start reassembling this thing. What am I going to do? I'm thinking, just because that was so loose, I'm thinking I'm going to take out that Woodruff key out of it. Okay. Once I take that out of it, I'm thinking then I'm going to sit my pulley on, and then I'm going to spin my crank with the chain. The chain, let me see, if I spin the crank, the chain will rotate. The pulley will be in the wrong place, but I should be able to move the pulley up top back into the right position, put it on, have it timed up, and then at that stage I can see what the heck is going on in here and why that has broken it. Bit mad, bit mental. But anyway, that's what I'm choosing right now in my haste. That makes sense. So I'm reassembling, sitting that back on, and we'll rotate my bottom end to top dead center. At that stage then I'm going to try and move my gears back into the positioning they should be in. This is all probably slightly a big cracker. It's probably, to be honest with you, one of the most crackers things I've done with a while. Anywho, as Mr. good friend of mine, David Sterling, would say, I have already put in my screwdriver. I have already put in my camshaft. I have no rockers underneath that one. I have no, I have rockers in there, but I don't have the intake camshaft sitting in place or being driven by that, so it's only just hanging there. And if we want to try and have a look at that, we get a glance at it. Can we see what's happening here? So basically my bottom end is rotating without rotating anything up the top. Okay? If I'm looking at my screwdriver, and I'm going to try and do this on camera, there's she going up the way. It's up and she's coming back down. Up, back down. Up and back down. Okay, we're going to stop there. Up, there, there. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Okay, so to me, right now I'm at TDC might be a fast guess, and I'm probably going to do it a little bit more detailed when I'm off camera and have two hands free. But right now my challenge is that I'm at top dead center right now, so my bottom end in theory is right. I'm now going to put in my intake camshaft. I'm going to line up the little marks on the back of the camshaft here. I don't know if you ever see these marks, do you? Where are they? There. So, you can see those little marks right there. On the exhaust camshaft, you're going to have one that just sits in the middle in there, okay? So I'm going to line up them. So the two, my exhaust camshaft and my intake camshaft are in the right position corresponding to each other, if that makes sense. And then once I have that sitting kind of right or in the right place, I'm now then going to attempt to get my pulley off that chain, move it around to the right place, and then with the Woodruff key into that stage. That makes sense? Now again, we're only back in the position that we were before something went wrong here. Could we have lost oil pressure? I'm just trying to think out loud here. Could we have lost oil pressure? And if I lost oil pressure, would the actual tensioner for the chain, I don't know, be able to get squashed back in? And if so, would the chain jump then? Because, as we saw, we had engine oil pressure. So I could, in theory, put this thing together. I could turn the key. It could go bang, or it could start, run, and I might have no oil pressure. But then again, as I said there, it is really, really clean in here, as if someone done a good job. But there's something after going wrong on this man, whatever the heck has gone on. Anyway, we'll go in. And hey, another pointer I can't rightly show you now. And maybe this was somewhat of a giveaway, and maybe I should have, first time I've seen it, shown this maybe in a little bit more detail. Our manifold absolute pressure sensor, the top of it, there was something after happening to it. I think that's exhaust gas came out and melted the top of it. By the time it'd been off, exhaust gas out, the intake manifold melted that. Could be wrong. But anyway, that's where we're at. Okay, for what I was thinking was a nice handy little video there. Look, again, luckily it's manual. If your car is not manual, you need to remove a bit of a cover over there. You need a 21 socket to go in onto the crank pulley, and you need to turn the engine from that side. For me, I just stuck a wheel, kicked the wheel in underneath the wheel, locked or held that one because of the wheel, put it into fourth gear and rotated my engine. Time for me to put the top back together. And the plot thickens, as the man would say. Okay. I've put back in my rockers. I have my little locking tool in place. I have my camshaft, etc. back in, and I was trying to line up marks. I'm not happy. What am I not happy about? That little yellow mark in there is where the Woodruff key on the exhaust camshaft would be. Okay? If I line that up to 12 o'clock where I want it, if we can see it, if I line it up to 12 o'clock where I want it, lo and behold, that little dot there that does nothing, but just it's a pointer for me, is way off over here. Now I do know that from being at these engines, that should be at about 12 o'clock, that little mark, that should be at 12 o'clock. And also should my Woodruff key in there. So I'm saying, what the heck is going on here? Now, exhaust camshafts fail in these things, but intake camshafts don't. So, unfortunately, I had to go to a steel skip that I have out here to root out a rusty camshaft just to see what the story is. Now, if I have that little pinhole at 12 o'clock on the intake camshaft and come over here, these two lobes, if we can see them, on a bad camshaft, are pointing up towards me. So, if we run back to this one, they're roughly in the same place. They're pointing up towards me when I'm standing at the front of the car. And the same here. I'm only actually getting into a bit of detail now, looking a bit harder while we're there. Yeah, I do believe that that's fairly right. Now, if we roll back, I get my, where's my 23 spanner? Sitting in here. Okay. If I get my 23 spanner, and I turn my camshaft back to put that yellow mark that was in there back at, and that's where the Woodruff key is sitting. I don't know if you can, it's very hard for me to see. The hole is actually in there for that Woodruff key. Can we see anything in here? No. Okay, you can see the hole for the Woodruff key in there now, just where my yellow marker is, okay? If I put that back to 12 o'clock, as I said, that one is not at 12 o'clock, so I'm not happy. And because I'm not happy, I'm saying, what the heck is going on here? If I go around again and look, well, that's at 12 o'clock. In theory, my camshaft is bang on in the right place. But if I have that at 12 o'clock, I have those lobes looking at me, and you can see the dot. Can you see the dot in there? It's kind of, again, pointing up at me in line with those lobes. If I pull out a new camshaft here, I pull that to 12 o'clock, if I roll around, the lobes are pointing up at me. But that dot is nowhere near where these lobes are. See it? Dot there. Now, luckily, I haven't done any more reassembling. I'm just not happy. And you can see it actually there, very visibly there. Cam lobe there. Put my finger here, kind of in line with the cam lobe. You can see the dot. It's just sitting down there. So, finger in line with the cam lobe. Dot is just underneath it. Underneath my finger. Make sense? Over here, cam lobe there. About 3 or 4 teeth away. This thing needs a camshaft, an exhaust camshaft. But what is the primary cause of this thing? So here we're in here. We have hydraulic tappets after getting squashed. We have timing chain after jumping, basically causing the hydraulic tappets to squash, then causing valve to piston damage. But what is the primary cause? Well, we have neither here or there. We have to keep on going. Camshaft has to go into that car right now in order for me to be able to time up this thing. Once I've that done, then, as I said, I'm going to try and get the gear out here, rotate around, have another pulley, again, that I brought out of the skip when I was actually out there, and I'm going to reinstate that on it. To be honest with you, I probably should be tearing this thing down, putting a timing chain. I should be reverting back to where I was primarily and telling the man he needs a cylinder head on this thing, end of story. But for now, anyway, I was watching a video only the other day, but belonged to Ivan from Pine Hollow, where he had a Nissan something, a Navara we call it over here. I don't know what it's called over there, a Titan, I think. But it just kept rolling on and on and on and on and on. And here we are. I said in the comments that was real life car repair, and here we are, real life car repair as well. This thing needs an exhaust camshaft. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to change that pulley and see what the heck is going on. It is just so cool to start seeing things. Again, I don't know the primary cause, but okay, Woodruff key. Let's scroll back. Woodruff key, roughly marking in line with it. Woodruff key, roughly marking in line with it. We come around, the little dot sits there, so I put a yellow marking here. I've done that, dot, yellow marking. Now you can see that while sitting there on this one, it's nearly out at 3 o'clock. On this one, it's up at 2. That flumen gear is at the twisting on that exhaust camshaft. Now I don't know if that's the cause of our issue or what looks to be a new timing chain and relatively well fit and all tight is the problem, but there's something going on funny here. Anyway, I'm going to throw that into it. Haven't even spoken to the customer about this, unfortunately. But you start the ball rolling. How do you stop the ball rolling? How do you stop in the middle of this? And, oh, what you need is, you need this, you need that. This, yeah, it's all or nothing. It's the head or here I am chancing this stuff. So I'm chancing this and I'm going to see whether it works or not. I went home last night after been working on this thing, and a variable that did enter my head was, could someone have worked on it and left that out of it? And could that rotate and not be timing chain derived of an issue? Because I don't see anything wrong with the timing chain. But anyway, lo and behold, anyway, our pin is intact. And I don't know if you can see it's protruding out a little bit. If I can push it in. Might not have been seen, but I have just pushed that in flush at this point in time. I could probably even get it in further, but the pin is intact, so if it's sliding in and out, it's not bent. If it's not bent, it's working, it's doing its job, and I don't need to worry about it in there. So, yeah, funny kind of a thing. I don't know what went wrong here. This is my variable. What caused this problem? This is why I'm stressed. And panicking on what the heck, can it go wrong again? Don't know. Anyway, I'm putting back on my crank pulley and I'm going to start trying to resolve my timing chain ailments above top. Okay guys, I have Ivan actually holding back the timing chain tensioner there. When he was holding that back, I actually held the chain, held the gear, and one by one I was moving the gear. I would have liked, because of the little scuffer mark on the side, to replace and put that in there, but I wasn't confident enough to do it. So I've only left the gear in there with that little mark in there. It all looks relatively okay, to be honest with you. I can't actually show it, sorry. I didn't tighten the pulley yet, but I was able to look in there. That nut is only finger tight at this point in time. So right now I'm going to start getting myself set up, move my camshaft, make it sit into place and squeeze it up, okay? Silly, but right. Just to doubly show. Okay, crank pulley. You can see it. I can't see it there now. You can see it there going. Is at 12 o'clock, so if we start there, run up through that, she's sitting bang on straight up there, if you can get a gist of a visual on it, okay? I know it's quite basic, and then if we come up here, again, same thing, little dot, 12 o'clock, middle of that, a little slot in there where the Woodruff key did sit, and she rolls in basically right in line with the middle of that, okay? Makes sense? Yeah, it's time to start putting on a crankshaft, turn the engine over a couple of times and just see what happens, see what the timing chain looks, etc, etc. Yeah, and hopefully this thing is going to come right, but I just can't figure out what's after happening right now, what caused it, what was the primary cause. Sorry guys, the compressor is going in the background and there's walnut blasting happening there. For me, I have reassembled everything. I can't, as I said there, tell you at this stage what's going to happen, oil pressure related faults, etc. I have that nut loose here for cranking, and I have drawn out or bled it to that point. So I'm going to crank it. I have rotated the engine twice or 3 times or 4 or 5 times maybe as well, just to make sure there's nothing hitting. And at that stage I think I'm ready to go in, press the button and just see what happens. I think I'll press the button once or twice, primarily with that open, to allow it to bleed itself, and then when I have that squares up and I have diesel, I'll come back on. So after it's spun, so she was cranking over. Oh, speed's in here. Okay, she had been cranking over. Does sound like there's one cylinder a little bit softer or weaker than the other, but in saying that, we've seen that when I was over on the other lift recently doing a timing chain on a Land Rover Discovery. So I'm going to, for now, continue on, press the button once or twice and just see what happens. Here we go. Battery's a little bit low. Don't think it's going to start, lads. I need to get a scan tool in. Right. Okay, we're going, but we're not going on 4 cylinders. Okay, oil light. You see that? Oil light came on. At that stage, it's time to turn this thing off. I haven't even got out again at that point, but I did press the button once more, and I'm going to tell you my gut feeling here is this was a total loss cause. That's my gut feeling. Total waste of time. I'm suggesting we need to go looking at oil pressure at this point with a scan tool, but I'd say my gut is telling me that this just isn't is a waste of time. I'd say it's oil pressure related, this problem. Started from just what my brain is, excuse me, making me think, but I'll do it once more. Highlight on. Okay, see the highlight coming on? It done Mazda accelerator warm up there. To start with, isn't right. Something wrong. Yeah, better get looking at oil pressure. This thing is nearly a pull the plug and walk away and delete this video. But sure, maybe no matter what way we'll do it, I'll put it up just to show the discrepancies of where you're at and what the challenges are in car repair maybe. I didn't realise the light was going to come on again, but anyway, it's getting, I suppose, slightly dark for some reason. Again, I think I'm closing this one up at this point in time. My format of a story here is, which I didn't get guidance, had a fault code about oil pressure, but I didn't get any information or pointers on oil pressure when the car broke down. I actually have a job sheet here. I sent the job sheet on to the customer and showing them the instruction that I have had. Now, my theory on events here, and this is just my theory, we've no oil pressure. I don't want to start it again because I have no oil pressure whatsoever, just flat zero. Okay, so my belief is, even though someone has been working on it, that maybe the oil pump timing chain is broken on this thing. This is my guts. Now, can you decipher on where to go? You have a non-starting car. Can you go after oil pressure when you have a non-starting car? No, you can't. Anyway, what my thoughts are is the chain broke down the bottom. Once the chain broke down the bottom, we lost oil pressure. It could have even gotten raveled up somewhere, which could have made the timing chain jump, which could, and it's all could because I don't have fact here on anything. It could have made then valve to piston damage happen, which broke the caps and made the gear on the outside of the camshaft go. So everything we've done to this point was only bringing it back to the point where he lost oil pressure. That makes sense? It's the joys of this business. I did tell him, I'll just show you fast if this makes any sense, and I don't. Here we are. I did say that, where are we going? All the way over here. Exhaust pressure sensor, blah, blah, blah. I estimated $5,000. Strainer, chain, camshaft, vacuum pump, possible head gasket removal to replace valves. That's where I was at, and that's what I advised day one, but the man wanted me to try and go a different or a cheaper route. Here we are. Maybe I'll do a part 2, and part 2 we might just take off the sump and see what's in there. Okay, anyway, for this one, guys, please like and subscribe. Talk to you all later. And it wasn't a very good video, but it's a topsy-turvy video, and that is the joys of this business. Okay guys, a little bit of bonus footage on our Mazda that stopped with oil. You can see rust on brake discs. I've got in, I've taken off the sump. Can you see that? Let me come out. Oil pump, timing chain, gone in bits. Guides, bolt in the actual guide here that they're breaking. I think this is nearly a goner, lads, after all of that. Anyway, hey ho. People would probably say to me, but why didn't you go a different direction? But how was I to know? I've just been speaking to the customer, and customer mentioned about oil light coming on. I've no record of anything about oil pressure. Car broke down, put in the verge, and here we are. Anyway, guys, talk to you on the next cartoon. Once bitten, twice shy. Talk to you later. Okay guys, just a little bit of bonus footage to close up on this video of how not to fix yokes. Timing chain is there, camshaft is there, valves, we had a couple of valves bent inside in here, the broken caps, head gasket, etc. I didn't record it. I didn't think I was going to be getting this job of putting it going. Anyway, I did, but the man, he's actually picking the car up there, so this is kind of happening in a speedy fashion, or a speedy format, but we are, oh, the man has the key gone off of him. Anyway, you can see it here. Key not found. He has the key over in his pocket, I believe. Neither here or there. Look guys, it's up, it's running. But this is how not to fix a car. I was only, what his response to me was, you just tried to save me money, and that's what we were after all along, was trying to save money. So anyway, guys, how to not fix it. Please like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you on this cartoon. Peter Kennedy, sign out. See you later, lads.